Welcome to Tech Brothers with Ahmed. Today we are going to learn how to use common table expressions in OLE DB Command Transformation with parameters in data flow task inside SSIS Package. So we will learn the following things in this video. We will learn how to create a table and insert some duplicate records. We will learn how to write a common table expression to find duplicate records. We will learn how to use CTE or common table expression to delete duplicate records, and then we are going to learn how to create SSIS package from very basic. And the fifth part is that we will be reading the data from a flat file, and then we need to we will be using these records to delete the data from a table, and we will be using OLEDB Command Transformation, and we will use CTE, and we will delete those duplicate records. Sixth, we will be using CTE in common table expressions to delete duplicate record. You will see how the query has to be written and how the parameter has to be defined. And seventh, we will learn how to map those parameters to the input columns of a flat file that will be coming in SSIS package. Now let's go and take a look on our table structure. So what I have here, I have a table that has customer ID, customer name, street address, city, state, created on, and region. So let's create this table, and then we will insert some duplicate records. So that's how I have built my select query. So I have select one, that's ID, then a name, then a street. So that's how you can build it. Then union all with the other record, and then finally you can say insert into table, and here is your select query. So this is your derived query or subquery you are using here. Actually, I will say it is derived because we are not using in or where and all that. So it is your derived query that you build with union alls to insert these records. So go ahead and run the query. Now at the end we have select query that is returning us these records. If you see, we have customer ID 1, customer name Amir, and then we have street address, and then we have region code. I don't care if street address is matching or not, as long as these three columns, customer ID, customer name, and region, is matching. I will consider that record as a duplicate, because it doesn't have to all the row has to be duplicate, because there are different criteria your company is looking for. They're looking for, okay, there would be no case or scenario in which a second record would have same ID. That can be case. So this is a duplicate record according to our requirement. And then what we have the same name, and we are saying ID 1, region code Amir, and in the Europe region. That's also making it a duplicate in our case, because in different region we have that record. So what we want to do, we want to write a common table expression to find the duplicate records, and then keep only one record in each of the region with that ID and name. So let's go and take a look. Right now what I have written here, I have written a common table expression. And how we write the common table expression, you start using this terminator. I don't know what exactly you call it, but this is the terminator or the symbol you use, and then you say with, and then you can provide the name of your common table expression. So you can call it CTE. I call it CTE. You can call it a CTE underscore customer, or remove duplicates, or whatever you want to say it, and then you say use the word as, and then you have a small parenthesis here. Inside parenthesis you will write your query. So here till we are here, we are selecting everything. We are selecting we are selecting customer ID, customer name, street, and city, and all that. Here I'm using a row number function. So this is a built-in function that we are using here, and we are using with over clause and partition by, and if we are partitioning by customer ID and customer name. So that's how it will be creating the partition for us and row numbers for us, and we are ordering by created on. So we are saying, okay, create me numbers for these records, especially we are just saying customer ID and customer name. If this is, let's say, one is Amer, one is ID and name is Amer, so there are multiple of them. So yeah, partition by them and order by the created on. So that's the clause we are using to order by. So it is going to create the numbers for us and number them according to the order of the created on date. And then we give this one as a name called as RN, and here we are saying from table and the where region is equal to Asia. So we are only right now looking for Asia, and then we close the parenthesis, and then we say select star from CTE customer, whatever you use here, the name you use here, and then you will provide where customer ID is equal to 1 and RN is greater than 1. Let me run this query first. First part, I'm not using the where clause, and show you what exactly it is returning. Okay, we use, sorry, we have to be in the test database, so change the database to test. Let's run this one. So here we see that for Asia, I just have put the Asia here so you can see the difference. We will remove this where clause as well. Now here you can see this is ID1 and Amer, and then you see it started with the date. So 23rd was the first date, and then it is taken ascending date here. We can if our requirement is okay, keep descending, you can go by descending. You can always put descending here, DSC, and that's how it will sort. Let's run this one and let me show you. First this is done ascending, so it put the number 1 for the first record depending upon these two values and ordering by created on. Next it has the same record, so it put 2, it provided us or gave us number 2 for this row, as this is duplicate record and it is ordered by this date. So it is, then it is next this third, and here we have MRAS, that's the only one record, so it start a new number for that one because this does not match with these records, and our partition is on created customer ID and customer name. So as long as the customer ID and name matching, it will be keep generating the number in the sequence by created date, whatever the order we have in ascending. Now if I will say descending, it will create the same number, but it will be different sequence. So you see that customer ID 1, name Amer, but this time it took the latest, I will say latest or the last record, that was 4/30th, as a 1. So depending on your scenario, maybe you want to delete the record, all earlier records, duplicate records, and just keep the latest record, or maybe you want to keep the very first record was inserted and delete all the new ones. So depend whatever you use. So let's say in our case we are using ascending. We will be keeping the very first record, and we see okay, that's the right record we want to keep, and all other duplicate records we want to delete that. So we have ascending, and here I have a region Asia. So what we want to do here, this was to find the duplicate records, right? And here if I say put the where clause, so I'm saying where customer ID is equal to 1 and RN is greater than 1. So what am I doing here? Let me run this query. So you can see that that's how I left the very first record that was a duplicate record, and then I'm taking all those duplicate record that I need to delete, and I can, instead of using here the select star from, I can delete the data by using the CTE. I want to delete all the copies they are of this record, and they are not the first record in the table. So that's how, in this case, if I want to show you everything, so I want to keep this one, and then I sorted out and I said where RN is greater than 1. So you can see that 2 and 3 was, and that's how we will get those records. Now let's go to the delete query, and here we are saying for the region, instead of the region, providing the region, I have used the question mark here, and then I have used the customer ID, and that's all we need here. So now, and also if we want to put the customer name, where customer name question mark. So we use the same CTE. We kept everything as it is, but here, as we are deleting the record for the only region, whatever the command in the file, so I have sorted out or got or filtered the only records for that region. So in this case, if the Asia will be coming, so it will, these records will be for Asia, and then we will delete those duplicate records where customer ID match and the name match, and those are duplicate records. We will leave the first one and delete all the other copies. So let's go and create our SSIS package now. This is one way to write the CTE. This was another way to write the CTE as well. So I got this RN here, so I have select I was just writing multiple ways to do it. So here we have the same way, called RN from customer, and then inside the CTE I use all of those region code, customer ID and customer name, and I said delete from CTE where RN is greater than 1. So we will use the both of them and see if there is any difference when you have all the parameters in CTE, or when you have some parameters inside the CTE and some parameters outside the CTE. Does that make any difference or no? So it is just to show you how OLE DB Command Transformation will make a difference or make no difference if the parameters are inside or outside of a CTE. Now let's go back here. I know the videos is getting long, but there are small things I have to cover. So click here, and I'm in SSDT SQL Server Data Tools, and I am creating a new package by clicking here on SSIS Packages tab, new SSIS package, and I'm gonna name this one. I'm copying the old package name, just clicking here and pasting. You can do that. I'm going to say OLE DB Command Transformation _ CTE, and here I'm going to use the data flow task as I'm reading the records from the flat file. Let me show you the flat file real quick, and consider this scenario when you have data in the table, and your business user has access to see the data, and they want to delete the data. Instead of creating tickets, they ask you to create a SSIS package. Once they find out, okay, there are duplicate records, they will create a file and place in a folder. SSIS job runs every hour, and then take that value and delete those duplicate records. So you give them a freedom to delete those duplicate records, and consider that table is not that important. If something goes wrong, that's fine. I was trying to find more real-time scenarios, but it is hard sometimes coming up with the real-time scenarios for the demos. So I thought, okay, this is one of the scenario I can bring. At least what we have here, we have customer ID, customer name, and region, and depending on these values, we will be deleting the duplicate records and leave only one copy. So close this one. Now in our SSIS package, we are going to use the flat file source. Make a connection to the flat file, browse, go to the folder. I have a folder in the input folders. Everything came right in my case. If your file is different, you have a let's say tab or vertical bar or other maybe semicolon as a column delimiter, you can use that one, but in my case it is fine. So I'm going to go to advanced, just change the data type of customer ID, and it is integer, so I change to the DTI4, and the rest of them I'm going to leave that one as it is. So customer name and customer code is varchar 50 in my case, but that's fine. So hit OK. Now retain null values from the source as null values in the data flow. If you are getting blank values, from the source and you want to convert them to the null, you can check mark this box, hit on columns, hit OK. Next we are going to use the OLEDB command transformation to delete these records. And here, first of all, when we open this one, we have to provide the connection, and it is telling us flat file connection. Even it does not use the flat file connection at all. It need to have OLEDB connection. So we hit here in the connection manager pane, right click OLEDB connection, and then select the database in which your table is, or store procedure, whatever you want to use, any object you want to call in OLEDB command transformation, you will be selecting that database. So first of all, select the server name or instance name, then provide the database name. So here we have test database, hit OK. Let me see. Now hit OK. Here we are gonna open the OLEDB command transformation again. Select the connection manager. Now next part is the component properties, and here we will provide a SQL statement. So don't just copy and paste here. I always say that. Okay, let's copy this one first, paste it here. So now what you see only this terminator. Right now it is only taken the very first line, so you have to click here and paste here. That's how your query will come correct. And also remember the sequence in which you are writing these parameters. So we have region code, we have customer ID and customer name as the parameters. Hit OK. Now we will be going to the column mappings, and here when you write these queries, the destination bring those parameters, but it's a parameter 0, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't give you the name of those parameters. So that's why you have to remember it. You write it down on some Excel and then map them. So first of all, if you remember, the very first one was region code, and then second was customer ID, and then we had customer name. So that's how it is. You can check it here. So very first one was region code, second is customer ID, and then we have customer name. Now come back here, hit OK. We are all good. Let's go back, check the record. So here what we have Amer multiple times. For Asia there are 4 records. One is the Raza, that's fine, nothing should happen to this record, but the 3 Amer with ID 1. So one of them should be left there and the other one should be deleted. Let me turn off this alarm real quick, sorry. Now let's go back and run this query. Okay, we have duplicate records, we see that. Now we are going to run this SSIS package. It should delete the duplicate records for Amer in the same region and leave only one record. So that completed successfully. It read one row, but it should delete multiple records. So we can see here, let's run this one now, and we see there is only one record left for Amer, and all other duplicate records are deleted. So now one more thing, let's go back and drop this table and reinsert all those records. This time what we are going to do, we are going to put 2 records in the file and then see if it will work as the same. We have same ID one, Amer, and then we have region Europe. Now if we run this one, this has duplicate records. We can see that there are duplicate records for Asia and there are duplicate records for Europe, and ID is 1 and name is Amer. So at the end we should have only 3 records, one for Amer in Asia, one for Raza, that's unique record, and one for Europe. So let's go back here and run our SSIS package. So now the package is completed successfully. What happened? Here we have two records that's coming in, and it should delete all the duplicate records what we see here. And if I run this select query now, we have only 3 records left. Razaba is unique and we never try to delete that anyways, so that's fine. We deleted the duplicate records for Amer in Asia, so 1 is left, and also it worked for Europe as well. So that's how you will be using common table expressions in your OLEDB command transformation in SSIS package. Let's go back one more time. I'm going to drop this one and then take the last query in which we use all the parameter inside the first CTE. Here I was using some of the parameter in the first query, and then some I was using the delete query in the CTE. Here we are going to use all of them together inside, and then we will be deleting it. We would not have any parameter for delete. So here, take this one, and let me see, this is dropped successfully. Let's run the query. So we have the records again. Go back to the package, open the OLEDB command transformation again, component properties, and here select all. So we select everything, paste it here. So the region code, customer ID, and customer name is the same sequence. So hit OK. Let's see if we have to remap. No, we don't have to remap. It automatically took them, so that's fine. We have region code, that's mapped to the first one. Second, we have customer ID, that's second, and then we have customer, that's the third one. So parameters start with 0, so that's how it started with 0 1 2 3. So indexing is 0 1 2 3. So the first one is this one, this is second, this is third actually, but don't be confused with 0. So that's the starting point, and you say it is 1. And now we go back, run our query, package, and we should have only unique records left in the table. So let's go back. Right now we have duplicate record. When we first time ran this select query, package is completed. Now we should have 3 records, one Amer in Asia, one 2 Raza in Asia, and 1 Amer in Europe. So let's run this one, but we have used all the parameters inside the CTE this time. So that's how it is working fine. So it doesn't matter the way you want to write your CTE. You can write all the parameters inside, you can write some of them inside, and then you can use some of them after in the final query, so it will work just fine. So thanks very much for watching this video. Sorry for this video. I always say that the videos get long, and the goal is to go through each and every component and show you all those small things. And anyways, I apologize for making the videos long always. So thanks and have a good day.